Hi, kids. Okay, so next up, 7 of 9, um, no Jerry Ryan, is the bridge on the River Kwai. Because why not? Bridge on the River Kwai, based on novel of the same name, written by Pierre Boulez. The film originally released December 14th, 1957. Pierre Boulez, novelist who was himself in World War II and was a prisoner of war. Uh, Another novel you may have heard of that he wrote is called The Planet of the Apes. So maybe he's working some things out there in his work, right? Because Bridge on the River Kwai is a bunch of prisoners of war held by the Japanese in Thailand who are ordered to build a bridge on the River Kwai, it says here. So he's got some writing with the prisoners there, right? Planet of the Apes, another prisoner in a foreign land. The film, directed by David Lean. After this, he goes on and directs Lawrence of Arabia, a very long, epic films. I think this might be the longest film that I've talked about so far, so we're going to change his name to David Long. Hope he doesn't mind. He's dead. It's okay. Um, Bridge on the River Kwai. The screenplay is credited to two writers or not credited um, because the two writers who worked on it were blacklisted. Blacklisted in Hollywood at the time, around this time, 50s. Uh, it was the Red Scare, communism, names were named. People were accused of being communists or communist sympathizers. It was a very bad thing to be named as. And if you were blacklisted. You couldn't work on Hollywood, or at least you couldn't be credited with your work. Also, sometimes if you were homosexual, you would be named as a communist sympathizer and blacklisted. Anyways, so the two writers, Carl Foreman and Michael Wilson. Carl Foreman also wrote on things like High Noon and The Guns of Navarone. And Wilson, uncredited because of when it came out and because he was blacklisted. Also, It's a Wonderful Life and Lawrence of Arabia and Planet of the Apes. All fits together. Um, yeah, so they're mostly British, some American. They're prisoners of war in Thailand. Ordered to make the bridge. There's the Japanese general that's overseeing everything. He's under a tight deadline. If the bridge doesn't get built in time, it's great shame for him, and he is going to commit harikari, kill himself. Um, that role is portrayed by Sisu Hayakawa. He was started as a Japanese silent film star, was somewhat of a sex symbol in Japan. Talkies start, comes to Hollywood, and at this time he's one of the few actual Japanese people portraying Japanese people. Move over, Mickey Rooney. Um, so he is portraying that character. The film doesn't really take a stance, the Allies good, bad guys bad. He's not portrayed as evil Japanese. He's somewhat of a sympathetic character. The film is more interested in looking at when you're in situations like that, the things that people have to do and the compromises within yourself that you make so that you can live with yourself and get through situations like this. Um, Also stars William Holden, who, because of the deal that he made in this movie and around the time, he was a big star. Might not have heard of William Holden. This year, he was the highest paid actor, 1957, because he made a deal that he was paid $30,000 and then 10% of the film's gross on top of that 30,000 might not seem a lot now, but the film had about a $2.8 million budget, and he makes $30.6 million at the box office. He gets 10% of that, so not too bad. William Holden, I've been mentioning the AFI movies. He's in, I think, 3 or 4 of the films on those lists, so he was a name at the time. He was also friends with a guy named Ronald Reagan, who started out as an actor. He was his best man at his wedding. So he is the American role in the film. The lead British role in the film is played by Alec Guinness. See, if William Holden had gone and was in a Star Wars, then you know his name. He did not. Alec Guinness did. Obi Wan himself is in the role. He, I think, would win Academy Award for his portrayal, supporting actor, and then he's also in Lawrence of Arabia, and he's in the Star Wars. Did I mention Obi-Wan's in the Star Wars? Not sure if I mentioned Obi-Wan's in the Star Wars. Yeah, it's British soldiers. The studio, the producers, were upset looking at the dailies that there was no white women on screen. So they ordered a scene with a white woman, which had to be shoehorned in there, that David Lean wasn't too happy about because it's clearly just shoehorned in there. The climax of the film is, I won't say, but it's not up to the standards of what you might see in a film today. David Lean wasn't happy with the execution of it, but with the budget and what they had to go with, that's what they had to go with. The film was the highest grossing film of 1957. Another trend we're seeing with these films that win Best Picture at the time. I'm not sure when that goes away, but that does go away, right? Highest grossing film, wins Best Picture. It's nominated for 8 awards, wins 7 of them. Of course, the theme we've been seeing all these is it wins Best Picture and Best Director for David Lean, David Long. David Lean himself would win 2 Academy Awards for Best Director and nominated 11 times. So it seems like there's 5 or 6 guys that all made war movies and they're all nominated every year. And I've highlighted all of them. AFI list, the initial list, it was voted the 13th greatest film of all time. And then the 10-year later list, 2008, I think it was the 36th. So it dropped a little bit there. That is about it for Bridge on the River Kwai. Next up, we are going to talk about a raw American movie. Yeah. Okay. Bell, thumb, tell your friends. Thanks. Bye.